Treasury Secretary Geithner also on the Hill today as he appears before the House Financial Services Committee. And joining us first on CNBC with a preview is Congressman Spencer Bachus, chairman of the Financial Services Committee, joins us from D.C. Mr. Chairman, good morning to you once again.
Good morning.
Got a little bit of news leaked from what the Treasury Secretary will say, and that is, namely, that he thinks Congress should approve some legislation overhauling the GSEs within 2 years. That seemed like a realistic deadline to you?
I think we ought to approve legislation within 3 to 4 months. I think what the market needs is certainty. Now, how long that wind down is can be debatable, and he put a 10-year limit on that. I think it's important to have a resolution, and whether that transition is 5 years, 6 years, or 10 years is not as important as that there is some finality.
Right. People know which direction we're going. Speaking of which, the white paper doesn't spell out a clear path. Are you getting a sense that somewhere on the Hill there is a consensus gelling, forming on which of those options is the most reasonable?
Well, I think after we sit down with Secretary Donovan, Secretary Geithner, and our colleagues in the Senate, and I hope to do that within the next week or two, we'll have a clearer picture. We'll find out how serious they are about getting the federal government out of the housing finance business.
What would constitute seriousness to you? I imagine the option that says the GSEs go away altogether?
Yes. Now, what I think you do, how you take that down, we can debate. But, they're still proposing that in times of market stress that the government come in and make guarantees or prop up the market. And we see that as something that, gets us right back to square one.
Aside from the GSEs, you think some of these foreclosure programs need to finally go away, right?
Well, they're not working. Yeah, the bottom line, they're just not working. And, in fact, in many cases, they simply prolong the agony. They are preventing, I think, housing from seeking a natural bottom. Houses are affordable today. So we're talking about loans that should have never been made, and the taxpayers really shouldn't subsidize those loans.
So that would spell out a scenario where housing does have some downward room to go, right? Where housing prices in this country have not bottomed. How much pain? I mean, can the economy withstand that right now?
Well, of course, I don't have a crystal ball as to what the economy will do. I think it depends on jobs. If we can grow the economy, if we can get the government basically to quit over-regulating and inhibiting growth, I think we can bring back the jobs and the housing market will come. Now, housing prices are very affordable. They're at a 35-year low, so they're a bargain today. And, I wouldn't count on housing prices to go much lower unless we had some catastrophic financial shock.
Yeah. You mentioned regulation. The Chamber of Commerce today is going to send a letter to the Treasury Secretary and argue that no rules on the Consumer Protection Bureau that Elizabeth Warren is starting up, that no rules actually be made until a director is nominated by the White House and confirmed by the Senate. The Chamber's executive director for capital markets say that Dodd-Frank gave that group tremendous power, virtually no oversight. If that power isn't used carefully, there could be serious collateral damage to America's job creators. I'm guessing you would go along with that. I mean, she was named by the president to get this group off the ground with a very large budget. Should she have no say in the rules that are going to outlast her tenure?
Well, I think the Chamber was right on. There is no oversight, and she has tremendous discretion, and she is actually appointing agency heads and division heads and basically doing the hiring. And the legislation assumed that there would be a Senate-appointed designee.
Yeah. Any idea who that might be? Or is there rumblings on the Hill on who could eventually run this group on a more permanent basis?
No, I've not heard a lot of speculation. I think that's up to the president. And why he hasn't made a decision, I think the Chamber letter pretty much spells out he should have already made that decision. And why he hadn't, I think, is because he really does want Professor Warren
That's right.
to do that job. And as you said, I don't think she can get approval for the Senate. Now, she's a very capable person, but I'm not sure that she has the background in financial services to really judge some of the safety and soundness issues. But if he wanted to send Elizabeth Warren over, he has every right to do that, and he should do that.
Right, but just she needs to go through circles through the protocol. Jack Welch is here on set. You've talked a lot about this group for a while. $400 billion budget. Ms. Warren herself. Sometimes the timings of these appointments are as important as the appointment itself. Do you think he wants her in there just without approval?
It's another one of those things where they're regulating without getting approval from the Congress. I mean, he wanted her from day one. She wasn't going to get approved. This is their way of doing it. This is the same as drilling. Ken Salazar sits on the permits. The judge yells, you got to get the permits out. They don't do it. I mean, this is just flaunting the law, basically.
And it's hard to imagine, Mr. Chairman, that your hopes for less regulation are going to come to any kind of fruition with the situation involving Ms. Warren, right?
Well, she has, in fact, she has appointed the Attorney General of Ohio, who was defeated in the last election, as head of enforcement, and he has said that he's going to go out and put a lot of people in jail. What this agency was about was not intimidating people. It was about protecting consumers, and also there's no safety and soundness considerations, which I think ought to scare all of us. When you start telling people, how much they can loan and what the terms of those loans are, setting prices, you're getting away from the American system and free enterprise. And you're really, I think, violating our constitutional principles.
What the Attorney General from Ohio in this last election, Congressman?
Yes, he lost.
We used to have him on. He was. I remember that. I said that a couple. So now he was picked up by her. Yeah, he was suing.
He's been on the program.
For something in Ohio.
He was leading a group of AGs.
And I said, wow, you are, because being from Ohio, I think I made a couple of...
But now he's gone national.
Yes, perfect. That's perfect for her, this guy. I remember this guy. Yeah.
And, they have not defined abusive in the new agency or in the law.
Yet he says
if people make abusive loans and there are no guidelines, he's going to put them in jail. Now, how would you like to be faced with a situation where if the loan was unfair or it disadvantaged the borrower in any way, but you didn't know how that was done, or you didn't define that? It'd be like being out on the highway and saying, if you go too fast, we're going to put you in jail, but not posting a speed limit.
There's no number, but you were going fast,
right.
So here's your ticket.
Right. So there are real problems, and if the president wants to send Elizabeth Warren up, Dr. Warren, it can be considered, but he's basically circumventing the law.
Yeah,
and
I can't imagine you think she would be approved.
Well, the odds-on conventional wisdom is she would not. But now that's up for the Senate, and they would have hearings, and she would be, and she's a very persuasive individual, and she may, the Senate may approve her nomination.
That would be an interesting vote. We would pay attention to that vote. Mr. Chairman, we'll be paying attention to your hearing today as well with the Treasury Secretary. Good to talk to you again.
Thank you. I always enjoy being on, and Jack, it's good to see you.
Very nice to see you, Spencer.
Congressman Spencer Bachus.